Why diets make you want to eat more. When you're on a diet, you deny yourself the foods that you think you want to eat. And as soon as you stop the diet, you go straight back to eating those foods because you haven't addressed where the desire comes from. If you stop eating bags of chocolate buttons because you're on a diet, you still want the buttons, but you're being good and you're not eating them. You're probably saving them to eat when you've reached your ideal weight. Let's think about that one. Now, the worst diets, in my opinion, are the diet brands that sell their own food. The ones that encourage you to buy their meal bar or shake. How can you develop a healthy attitude to food if you become dependent on these products and you haven't eaten real food for weeks? When you introduce food into your day again, you'll probably go back to eating the way you did before you were on the diet. When you're on a diet, if you slip up and eat a forbidden food, you think you've failed. You feel like a failure. You feel bad. And what do you normally do to feel better? You eat the food you're trying to avoid and you decide to start the diet again tomorrow. And that all or nothing thinking will keep you in the diet trap forever. You think about food all the time because you're on a diet. You think about the foods you can't have. You think it isn't fair that you can't eat the food you like, and if you're going to stop eating cream cakes tomorrow, then you might as well eat as many as you can right now, because you're never going to eat them again. And we know what happens with never again food, don't we? When we feel forced into not eating the cake, we feel deprived. And so the next day we go out and buy more cakes to start the cycle again. But then you get strong, you cut out the cakes and you start to feel good about yourself. So you decide to weigh yourself to track your progress. But if you step on the scales and see that you've put on a pound, your mood will drop. You start thinking that you'll never lose weight. You become discouraged and you blame the scales or your weight for your mood without recognizing that you have created the mood. If you were happy before you stepped on the scales, what changed? The way you think about yourself. And when you think about yourself negatively, it's easy to say sod it and go back to eating the cakes again to try and get a good feeling. Remember, the scales can't affect your mood. Only your thoughts about the scales can do that. Constantly weighing yourself is as limiting as weighing your food. When you address the effect rather than the cause, you start back on the diet again and you deprive yourself of the food that you think you like again until the extra pounds drop off. And, as we've mentioned before, at the end of the diet time frame, or when you reach a target weight, you congratulate yourself by eating the cake you denied yourself, and this reactivates the addiction to sugar and fat. I've had clients that used to get a takeaway after their weigh-in at the Slimming Club because they'd been weighed and they thought they'd start again the next day. I mean, just imagine if you stopped eating bread when you're on a diet, you might not have considered how light and bloat-free you feel without the bread. Nor have you considered how your body reacts to bread. You've only stopped eating it because you have to, and you think that you still want it. You tell yourself you love bread, but you can't have it. So when the diet finishes, you go back to eating bread, and this starts a mental craving for starch and sugar. And the starch and sugar give you an insulin high before causing your mood to drop. So then you feel low, and to feel better, you look for that high and eat more of the foods that caused your mood to drop in the first place. This is like a dog chasing its tail. You go around and around without end. And this is a sign that you have a diet mentality and is one of the many reasons to ditch the diet.